that a while ago, there was an article in the UK where a 10-year-old girl sent a letter to her primary school principal suggesting or asking him to change the rules about the boyfriend-girlfriend scenario in the school. I just want to read you a little bit of this letter just to give you the context of it. I strongly believe that students at our school should be allowed to be in a strong relationship with each other, in other words, boyfriend or girlfriend. A lot of other kids are doing this, and teachers were sort of encouraging them not to do that. I think this is outrageous. I have some reasons to support my thoughts. The first is I think it helps us practice handling big emotions when we get older. We need this practice. No teacher has an expert child in prep and they're able to read in one day. We need the practice, and we need to handle those big emotions. So she went on in the letter to sort of put her pitch to the principal of why they should be able to date at a young age. Joining us today in the studio is psychologist, qualified teacher, lecturer, writer, public speaker and mum to 3 children aged 10, 15 and 17. Collett Smart, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You've got quite a resume there. But it is a topic, and I've got 3 young girls, and that's something I'm facing in the future. But what age is the right age for kids to even start thinking about the dating scenario?
I find this little girl's ideas interesting because you don't need to date to get to understand relationships or get to understand people. And I think I'm wary about giving a specific age here, but I would say even 14 or 15-year-olds don't need to be in serious, intense one-on-one relationships or dating relationships.
Well, what's the definition of dating then? Can I maybe ask that?
Look, I think, going out on a date one-on-one where it's just you and a partner and it just becomes really intense. I think for me, around that age, group dates or group outings with lots of young people together, boys, girls, that's where you get to know the type of sense of humour you enjoy or what another boy or another girl likes, their activities. You don't even really know yourself yet at that age.
That's what I was going to ask. Does a 10-year-old even know their own set of values to be then sort of being in a romantic relationship with someone else?
Well, look, not even a 14-year-old does. You know, a lot of 14-year-olds that I work with or have worked with in schools don't even know. They can't even work up the courage to greet somebody and say hello in the morning, never mind sit and have some kind of intense emotional relationship. There's so much wonderful research out that really talks about, very recent Harvard research that talks about, as parents, I think we wring our hands about this whole sex education. Kids are actually wanting love education. They're saying, teach us what is a mature relationship? What is it like to break up? What does it feel like to have intense conversations with people? They want to know about all that stuff from adults. They know that their friends don't know these kind of intense topics.
So it's less about the mechanics and more about the emotional stuff that goes on around in a relationship.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, how old were you girls when you sort of had your first boyfriend?
I think I was 14, and I do think looking back it was very young because we did end up having a long and intense relationship and that didn't work out, and I had so many emotions around that breakup.
I think you've touched on something important there. I think around that age, children don't need to be experiencing such intense heartbreak, and they start to question themselves and am I good enough? Why aren't I loved? Why aren't I liked? That's really something, if we can avoid that with young people, that's
especially with
important.
Depression being so high these days.
Yep. Yeah. To try and expect young people to find themselves in a relationship is quite dangerous. I think they need to be exploring friendships and sport. A lot of young people, the intensity draws them away from their friends, their sport, their activities that they love. Those are really important things that they need to be doing to find out what their own loves and their own passions are before worrying about relationships.
I think taking a step back, though, I would like to applaud this girl for having the moxie to write the letter.
Absolutely.
And to, she's obviously, her school's done a great job at teaching her to be persuasive. She's written this very persuasive letter.
I strongly feel this.
Yeah, and she stated her points and everything. And I think that we should be allowing kids to express those emotions that they do want a relationship. Like, let's dig a bit deeper and see why it is they want a relationship. Are they feeling some need for love? Are they feeling some need for connection? And then explaining to them, because I think that's one of the things that was missing for me. It was, don't have a relationship, you can't have one until you're in college, and it was never an explanation of
that authoritative approach that sort of helps you sort of go, hang on,
and
I
as
get
a
to make
result,
my own
you
decisions.
go back and do it. Rebel.
And I think, you know what's important, what you've just said there, I think we're naive if we think young people or teenagers, even 13-year-olds, don't feel something for another person. A lot of them do fall in love, and we mustn't scoff and belittle them for that. We talk about those emotions and talk about their feelings. We can't suppress that. It's just more us channeling it into healthy ways.
Well, I was going to ask, how do you sort of, I don't want to say prevent it or put a rule over it, but kids are seeing relationships in movies. They're everywhere. It's all around them. So it's almost like it's normal.
Yes.
And they feel abnormal if they're not doing it. So how do you sort of coach them through that?
Well, we hear so much about violent media, or, you know, keep your kids away from violent media, which we should, but we don't hear very much at the moment at all about what our media is teaching young people about love. There's so many myths in our movies and sitcoms around love and relationships, and they are soaking that in as normal. That's what a relationship looks like. So we can actually use movies to teach them, well, that's what healthy relationships look like, but that's what is unhealthy. And I loved what you said about the girl there. I think we set our girls up for failure. This whole idea of, we see these memes about my dad's big and he has a shotgun. I can't understand it. It drives me crazy because it takes away from empowering our girls to have a voice. Our girls should be able to know that they will be strong enough to make choices and see through boys who are making wrong choices early on. Tell our girls, I believe that you will have a good judge of character, and talk about what does character look like, what does respect look like, how should we be treated, and then mutual respect. I think we can sometimes look at, you know, defending our girls a little bit. Boys also need to be treated with respect.
Yeah, look, I think you're right in that you're saying, you know, it's all about sort of managing the situation and not shutting them off, but walking them through it like we do with so many other things in life, teaching them love, definitely. Look, if you want to jump onto our social media, we'd love to hear what you have to say. What time did you start dating? Let us know. It's been good to have you here. Thanks so much,
Thanks
Collett,
for having
joining us, ladies. Pleasure. We will see you next time. Bye.